Well, welcome to today's Ask an Expert workshop. We're grateful that you have chosen to join us today. Our presentation is on using social media to get a job. This is just one of many Ask an Expert series presentations brought to you by BYU's Careers and Experiential Learning staff. Today, I am your presenter. I'm Andrea Merriman, a career director in the College of Engineering and Technology. I've got my contact phone number here. You're welcome to reach out to me if you have any questions or need any additional help. One thing I did want to make you aware of is that the university is extremely vested in helping its students transition from education to employment. So not everyone is aware of the fact that BYU provides a career director to coach every student, and you are welcome to utilize your career director's services as often and as frequently and as many times as you feel that you need to. I have students that I meet with weekly, monthly, once a semester. It just depends on what you feel you need. So again, please don't hesitate to utilize our services. We are free, and our whole goal is to help you find internships and jobs and to be prepared for interviews and to have professional resumes, all those things that will help you get a job. So the first thing that I wanted to say before you even start your search is define and target the job that you want. Sometimes I meet with students who right up front say, should I just be willing to take anything, especially at this unique time in our economy and our history? And I would just say to you, don't abandon your dream or give up on your dream job right out of the gate. I think it's a big mistake to say, okay, I'll just take any job to get a job or a paycheck. If you market to everyone, you pretty much market to nobody. So identify the one area you think you can be the most value in and focus on that. Identify the one area that you want to obtain employment in and start there. Think about what you want to become and target those dream jobs. After a period of time of searching, if things aren't working out, then you can consider changing your strategy or changing the positions that you're going after, but don't give up on your dream before you even get started. Ralph Waldo Emerson said, "The world makes way for the man or woman who knows where they're going." So again, define and target the work that you're seeking. I want to let you know, as far as jobs go, there is so much more to social media than just simply mindlessly scrolling through social media. Know that the majority of companies today are using social media for recruitment. They're using social media to weed out employment candidates and prospects for jobs. 70% of companies have weeded out candidates based on their social media. Companies have rejected candidates based on what they find on social media. 54% of companies have utilized social media for that. That's why this is such an important topic to know more about. And it's also a great resource in looking for work. So first thing you want to think about regarding employment and social media is your brand. Now, we all have a personal brand. If you don't define it, the marketplace will. So know who you are and what you want to convey to the job market through social media. Here's some examples of brands. Ronald Reagan, part of his brand was jelly beans, that he was a great communicator, that he was a former actor. He talked directly to people. And part of his brand is, of course, Mr. Gorbachev, tear down that wall. Oprah. Oprah's brand, part of it is the fact that she's the first self-made billionaire businesswoman. Part of her brand is that she's just like us, that she's real, that she's down to earth, and that she's generous through her giveaways and her other philanthropic efforts that she's involved in. Donald Trump has a brand. He's got the brand of a businessman. Twitter is definitely part of his brand. I think his independence and the fact he's not indebted to any political party is part of his brand, like it or not. And then, of course, his hair can't be left out of his brand. So as you think about your personal brand, you think about social media, before you post anything, I want you to ask yourself, does this add value to my personal brand? Well, what is your personal brand? Your brand is how you promote yourself. It is your personally unique combination of skills, experience, your personality, and the personality you want the world to see you as. It's the telling of your story, and your brand is reflected in your conduct, your behavior, your spoken words, your unspoken words, your attitude. I guess you could think of it as your personal brand is the story people tell about you when you leave the room. So you need to brand wisely. Whether or not you claim it, you've got a brand. And there are things you can do to enhance your brand and to develop your brand. So identify how you want to present yourself, the look you want to give, the feel you want people to have, even colors, if you want certain colors associated with your brand, and get your personal branding down. And then use it. Brand your resume, brand your social media accounts. Think about your brand in everything that you do. If you don't have a consistent brand, if people that see you and know you through social media don't know your brand and are confused by exactly what you're trying to convey, you'll lose them. So you want to keep your image professional and appropriate, clear, well-defined, friendly. But again, don't be so self-aware that you become devoid of all humor and personality on social media. So you want to stay professional, but try to show that you're an interesting person, that you're a person people would want to spend time with at an office. You know, recruiters are looking for skilled, capable people, but they also are looking for people who are likable and well-rounded. So focus on sharing your professional self online on LinkedIn, and then you can show a bit more of your life outside of work on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, whatever platforms you're utilizing. So resume, let's talk about resume and how that relates to your brand and social media. So resumes are powerful tools if they are good. So your resume is going to be your foundation of your job search and of your brand. So make sure it's solid. You need to have an awesome resume. Think about, as you create your resume, that you're building a sales page, not a Wikipedia page. And if you think about sales pages and Wikipedia pages, they're both good, but they're very different. And one captures you a little bit more, whereas one is very informative. Think of your resume as your one-page sales sheet, and then your LinkedIn profile as your sales brochure, a more robust presentation of yourself. The purpose of your resume is to get you an interview, so make sure there's nothing on it or missing from it that could hold you back. Some things to think about. Nobody's ever going to be offended by a black and white resume. You should target and tailor your resume to each position. You should make sure you're using action words in your resume, that you're consistent in the tense that you use, and don't use first person tense on your resume. And then sometimes I get students in with a resume that has an objective listed at the top. Don't do that. That's old school. And also, depending on your major, but generally, I would recommend don't use text boxes or charts on your resume. Your goal with your resume is to make it through a scanner and to get an interview. So think about the following marketing objectives, since you're marketing yourself as you job search, regarding your resume. First, is it clean? Does it pass the eyeball test? Does it look professional? Is it simple? Is it one page? And also, Think about user experience with your resume. Is it more simple than Google? Remember, we live in a day of text messages and tweets. So keep things simple. Is your resume educational? Does it tell a story? Does it show what you brought that made something better? You know, does it depict how you are a difference maker? Is there quantifiable data on it? You know, whatever your numbers are, use them. If one position on your resume talks about being a receptionist and you took calls and booked appointments for 4, let's say, real estate brokers, those are your numbers. 4 is a number. Put it on there, use it, own it. And then also, lastly, ask yourself this marketing objective. Is it compelling? Don't just recite the tasks you performed, show what you did and the results you achieved wherever possible, and again, quantified wherever possible. So there's some ways to engage. There's some things to do on social media. Most importantly, remember, you need to put your best foot forward on social media. Some ways you can do that: you can share an online portfolio, you can share your resume online, you can blog, you can create a social media page to showcase your work. For example, a journalist could create a simple website or blog to showcase articles that he or she has written. Another example, you could create a YouTube video or an online infographic about your experiences and interests. So, you know, there are things you can do online to market yourself and to get a job. Make sure you're actively searching for jobs, and you can utilize social media to do this. But I want to preface this bit of advice with this: don't spend all day, every day looking for jobs. The job search is overwhelming feeling sometimes. It's emotional. It's a lot of work. It's stressful. It's the best of times and the worst of times. So make sure that you give yourself some breaks from that. Otherwise, it could just be too depressing. But do make sure that you're doing something every day to build your career, look for a job. Now, your something one day might be connecting with someone or reaching out to someone or strengthening a connection or a relationship. Maybe it's doing research on a company. Maybe it's applying. Maybe it's just looking at jobs. Anything job related, just do something to build your career. There are several things that social media can help you with in the job hunt. LinkedIn, see LinkedIn's jobs section. They've got an easy apply function. Twitter, you can search hashtags like now hiring or graduate jobs or engineering jobs. Twitter can be a goldmine. I just wanted to make sure you know about @CareerBuilder and @UndercoverRec. Facebook has a job portal. And then of course there's Handshake. Make sure you're on Handshake. To stand out on social media, you need to use it. You need to engage. So you need to engage in social media discussions. You can do this by following and liking posts by companies and job search experts. You can set Google alerts for key topics. You can look for relevant industry groups on Facebook and LinkedIn. You can pay attention to activity on public groups. You can leave business reviews. You can post relevant articles you find interesting, and you can favorite employers on Handshake, and then you'll get notifications when they post jobs, when they are holding interviews, when they're holding info sessions. Think about social media and how you're going to engage and stand out, and how that might impact your job search when you're leaving reviews for businesses. So make sure you're representing yourself well and putting your best foot forward again. You can utilize social media in the job search by joining groups related to your work or industry. Join LinkedIn or Facebook groups related to your career interests. You know, sometimes those groups share job opportunities or things that they're looking for in candidates. And that's great information to have if you're looking for work. Use hashtags on Twitter to find discussions you're interested in and to increase your engagement on posts. You also can join groups on BYU Connect. For example, there's a chemical engineering group on BYU Connect. There's an international students group on BYU Connect. So just be strategic and think about intentionally join some social media groups related to your work or industry. You can seek endorsements and recommendations from past clients, from employers, professors, anybody that you've had a positive professional interaction with. And if you like what they say and you think it represents you well and possibly shows a different aspect of your professional work and skills, several recommendations are good and you can utilize those. Here's an example template for requesting someone endorse or recommend you. For example, hi, I recently came across this on blah, 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 some topic that you care about that I thought would be of interest to you, and then give them the link. Then you could specifically say, I think you'd like this section or this part especially valuable. I enjoyed working with you at company blah, 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 or on project X. I wondered if you'd be willing to write a brief LinkedIn recommendation of my work. I'd love it if you could touch on initiative Y or our collaboration on Z. Just 3 to 5 sentences is all I'm after. I know a recommendation from you will significantly elevate my profile. I greatly appreciate your time and hope to hear from you soon. Thanks, and then your name. If they do give you a recommendation, make sure that you send them a thank you email. Okay, job searching is not easy, and don't make it harder because of your social media accounts. So some things to do. You can edit or tweak your privacy settings. You don't have to show absolutely everything on your social media to potential employers, but if you choose to do that, make sure that you don't hide everything, because if an employer can't find anything about you online, that could be a negative. Always assume that employers will look at your social media before they invite you for an interview. So don't apply for jobs and reach out to companies thinking you'll fix your social media later. Make sure you are prepared and ready to go with social media and a good resume before you start reaching out. Make sure you keep your accounts up to date and uniform. Make sure your contact information is current. Descriptions are current. Make sure that all your public posts going back a few years reflect your current professional self. And, you know, to help you remember to stay current, feel free to utilize scheduling tools to help you remember to update your profiles regularly. You might want to scrub your accounts to make sure there aren't photos or posts you wouldn't want a potential employer to see. Make sure you clean up any incriminating photos or possibly grumpy status updates that you've made. Just eliminate anything questionable. One thing you can also do on social media is let your connections know via a post that you're looking for a job. That can result in work. Just make sure if you choose to use that strategy, you don't appear desperate. Okay, make it professional and a one-time post. Think about your profile picture. Give some consideration to what you're using for your profile picture. There was a company that was all set to hire a candidate. They checked his social media accounts and his profile was locked, but they liked him enough that that wasn't a problem. The only thing they really could access was his profile picture. So they clicked on it and they saw that he was wearing a biker jacket in the photo. That wasn't a problem either, despite the fact it wasn't, you know, overly professional. But as they looked at his profile picture and examined his biker jacket a little more closely, the biker jacket had a swastika on it, and that was a problem. The employer said he had the right background and skills. He was definitely going to get the job, but not after the swastika. So give consideration to your profile picture. Check your posts. There was a company in the final round of vetting candidates. They found Facebook posts of political content on a job candidate's personal account. They felt like, well, it's an election year, so that's not that unusual. Even the content itself, even though it was definitely slanted toward one particular political party, wasn't an issue. It was the way the candidate argued aggressively with anyone who disagreed with them that became the issue. The employer said, "We viewed this as this individual would struggle if someone on the team wanted to take a project in a different direction than they had in mind. We need our employees to be able to set aside differences and work together, and we felt their actions showed the candidate wouldn't be able to do this consistently." And the candidate did not get the job. Don't let that happen to you. Give consideration to your photos and check your posts. Make sure you use good language. Hopefully with BYU, this isn't an issue, but there have been job candidates who lost the opportunity to be hired due to expletives on their social media feeds. Google yourself. You can check yourself to see what employers might potentially pull up about you on social media. Now, when you do this though, Google yourself in an incognito window, because results in a normal window will be affected by your browsing history. So you may not find everything that an employer will find. Make sure when you Google that you're putting yourself, your university, your employer into Google so you can see what comes up. You can also track yourself on Facebook by entering your email in the search bar, but just make sure you're not logged in when you do this if you want an accurate picture. Be understated on social media. Don't appear desperate. Don't tweet out, "Please hire me." The key is to put yourself out there on social media as a proactive person, a knowledgeable person, and you can be creative. You could pitch ideas, stories, projects of interest, anything like that. Just don't appear desperate and be honest. For sure, don't lie in your job search or online. So there was a candidate applying for a job who called and canceled her interview and asked for more time because she said her mom had passed away. The company felt that was not a problem at all. They totally understood. But then someone looked her up on Facebook and saw a picture of her at dinner with her mom after her mom had supposedly died. So be honest and make sure that the story that you're telling on your application matches how you represent yourself on social media. Develop your network. Reach out to people who are doing your dream job or the work you want to do. Seek to develop genuine, authentic connections with people. And we'll be having future Ask an Expert workshops on this topic, how to genuinely connect with people and make real connections that will benefit you. You want to try to have at least 50 to 100 connections as a start. And then if your connection and your relationship with someone online through your social media and network develops into a good discussion, you might want to consider meeting your online contacts in person. You could take them to lunch to discuss ideas or hold an informational interview. But if you do that, don't say, "I'd love to pick your brain about blah, blah, blah." Be concrete and specific. Say instead, "I have an idea for XYZ I'd like to get your take on." Remember, with your network, it's not about what you want and taking from people. It's also about what you give. So feel free to utilize your network, rely on them, turn to them, but also be prepared to do the same thing for those in your network and to give back. You can keep up with industry news online. Think about what areas or companies you're interested in working in. What projects have they been doing lately? What insights and info can you glean from a company's channels? You can keep up with developments and challenges your industry is facing. And then this online research through social media will also be helpful in interviews that you get. You don't have to have an account on everything, on every platform. You don't have to be on every social media platform. Every job seeker should have an account on LinkedIn. So you should all be on LinkedIn. And then every job seeker should also have an account on Facebook or Twitter or, possibly Instagram or Pinterest. And you should also have a profile on Handshake. But again, you don't have to be on every platform. whatever you're on, make sure you're active on it and utilizing it. So as Lee Corbusier said, less is more. Use a consistent name on your social media outreach and accounts. Use your real name, but whatever name you use, consistently use it and use it on all platforms so people can find you. You can add a little flair to your job outreach. You can be creative, you can be original. There was a contestant on The Apprentice, I think it was season 6, that was in an interview with an employer and was asked the question, tell me about yourself without in a unique way with flair. And you can go watch the YouTube videos of his response, but he said, I'm exactly what it says on the tin. And that was memorable enough, a little creative, it was original, that it got a lot of traction. So talk about what makes you unique. And one way you can do this is to have an elevator pitch. This is something you can be prepared with in instances like that, when somebody says, tell me about you in 20 seconds or less, or tell me what makes you unique. If you have an elevator pitch that summarizes who you are, maybe in 4 to 5 sentences, that talks about why you and why now, why should they hire you now? And then don't forget to end those elevator pitches with a call to action. May I give you my card? May I send you my resume? May I connect with you on LinkedIn? Okay. And one thing you can do on social media is highlight your skills. So you can showcase your skills on your resume and your accounts. Interestingly, I thought you might want to know this. So 53% of job descriptions ask for management experience. 41% ask for responsibility. 35% ask for experience training others. 34% ask for communication skills. 24% ask for planning experience, but soft skills are also in demand. 20% of job descriptions ask for flexibility. 18% ask for someone who's competitive. 15% ask for people who are motivated or friendly. So those are some pretty good statistics of what job descriptions are asking for, but only 1 in 5 resumes or social media accounts feature common soft skills. So 80% of job seekers are missing out on roles potentially because they haven't shown they're suitable people for the job. So you want to prove that you're a person who will be a valuable asset and will work well with others on social media. Now, I'm not saying list, in a skills section, I am flexible, I am competitive. I'm saying demonstrate in the things that you share, the story you tell, the bullets you use on your resume, and experiences on other platforms that you have those skills. So don't out and out say, I have this soft skill, but demonstrate that you have them. And make sense of your life experiences. Think about, as you're pondering how to demonstrate the skills that you have and show the skills that you have on your resume and social media, think about how your life experiences have given you those. I remember once I was meeting with a civil engineering student, and we were talking about how she could demonstrate passion for the field that she had chosen, passion for civil engineering. I said, well, tell me about your civil engineering experiences. And she said, I don't have any. That's the problem. So I went over her resume with her. I asked her questions about things she'd put on her resume. And it immediately jumped out to me that she had done a humanitarian trip in high school. And I said, tell me about this. What did you do on that humanitarian trip? She's like, I poured concrete and built concrete floors for homes. And I said, light bulb, ding, 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 ding. There is an experience from your life that demonstrates something employers are going to want to know. So think about that. Consider, like, if you see that experience training people is a job requirement, think about your experience and realize that you have experience training people if For example, you've ever had a part-time job and had to train a new coworker. If you've helped someone with schoolwork, if you volunteered at a school or with a group. So really review the experiences of your life and apply them to your resume and your social media representations. An important platform to be on and social media is LinkedIn. It's actually not important, it is vital. If you plan to be a professional, if you plan to have a career, if you plan to ever hunt for a job, you need to be on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a virtual resume and more, much more. Everyone shares their personal brand online, and LinkedIn is an opportunity to do that. So be bold, be brave, slay the dragons that you need to slay, and be on LinkedIn. So ask yourself, are you linked in or linked out? Here's some tips and suggestions on LinkedIn. So make your LinkedIn profile as strong as it can be. Make it complete. Fill out all the sections that you can. Be searchable. Making yourself easy to find when you're looking for a job is key to the job hunt. That's also why utilizing LinkedIn is so important. When you're on LinkedIn, you have the opportunity to make connections. You will need connections throughout your life, throughout your career. So start building those connections and relationships now. You'll have to job hunt throughout your life probably. So again, start building your brand now. Make yourself memorable, make yourself easily found, and build on your brand. LinkedIn helps with all of these. I hope that you're taking time to get to know the people in your ward, the people in your classes. Reach out to them, reach out to your professors, reach out to former teachers, young men's leaders, friends of your parents, anyone that you can cultivate a connection with can be helpful to you. Be warm and be welcoming and be first person on LinkedIn. Remember, the resume you're not, but on LinkedIn you want to be first person. Avoid buzzwords on LinkedIn. Try to be creative in the words that you use on LinkedIn. And then you can also ask for recommendations. For LinkedIn recommendations, you can ask people to write recommendations for you. Approach different people that might have different experiences with you and be able to paint different pictures of you. It's okay to suggest a specific recommendation or skill or experience they could focus on, and then ask different people to focus on different ones. Some LinkedIn suggestions. So experts get hired. You've got to decide what are you going to become expert in. So one important part of LinkedIn is your profile picture. You also want to write a profile headline that rocks. You don't just have to use your title in a company as your LinkedIn headline. You can use it to showcase your specialty or value proposition. For example, instead of saying career director at BYU, you could say communications expert, career coach, educator, things like that. An example of this, there was a student named Anderson who didn't have a headline that rocked. It was just a really basic headline. And not that you won't get a job if you stick to the basic. I'm just giving you some ideas and suggestions to utilize social media in better and different ways. But Anderson changed his headline, and within 5 days of doing that, finally got a contact from a company. And they said, based on your LinkedIn headline, you seem like blah, blah, blah. So you want to be specific, as specific as you can, about what sets you apart from your competition on LinkedIn. Think about a way to do your headline or your title. Think of 1 to 3 words that define you, and then make those your profile title. Also, think about 50 words that people might use to find you. For example, if you'd met them a few years ago and they were doing a Google search to find you, think about what geography or city titles you might put in, employment titles, companies, software you know, work you've done, keywords from job descriptions that you're applying for, and then take that list of 50 words and work those into your resume and your LinkedIn profile. That's where you can boost your searchability. LinkedIn is where you highlight your best accomplishments. You can use bullets that say what you did, how well you did it, who you impacted. Make sure, like your resume, that you're using action words. Include your accomplishments. Share times that you've been promoted and special projects you might have been chosen for. Include a current job entry. If you only list past positions in your experience section, but nothing current, some searches will miss you. So at a minimum, your current section should say full-time BYU student or chemical engineer in training for the job title, and then seeking new opportunity in the company name box. Also, think about adding photos, videos, or presentations you've given to the profile summary. You can just click Edit Profile, scroll down to the summary, click on the box symbol, and then add a file. For your LinkedIn profile, I want to emphasize your name. And again, we've talked about using your real name and consistently using the same name through all platforms. Photo, that it's professional. Keep in mind that your photo can be a part of your brand. It should be good quality. Make sure people can recognize who you are. Interestingly, recruiters spend 1/5 of their time on your photo when they're reviewing your profile. So make sure it's representing what you want it to be. Your URL, make sure you customize it, and then you can list your LinkedIn customized URL on your resume. You've got to make connections. Reach out to and connect, again, as I've said, with friends, roommates, classmates, ward members, neighbors, professors, club members, former teachers, youth leaders, family, friends of your parents. Get a minimum of 50 to 100 connections to start, and then really start building. You can also on LinkedIn change your settings to show that you're open to opportunities. And just know that if you are employed and you've changed that on your profile, it's only viewable to recruiters, so you don't have to worry about anyone else knowing that. LinkedIn connections, remember this, your next job likely lies within your existing network. Every job that I've ever gotten was because I knew somebody. So your connections and linking with others professionally is very important. Again, can't say it enough, 50 to 100 connections as a starting point, and look to grow your network all the time. Connections show that you're not a recluse, that you're not paranoid about connecting with others, that you're comfortable with technology and social media. So connect with people you know or that you've interacted with in some way before. And it's okay to connect with someone even if you've only had an email relationship, as long as you've emailed back and forth several times to really, make a connection with someone. Just think about who do you know and search them out and connect with them. When reaching out, send personalized messages requesting to connect. Don't just hit the connect button. And then when you've got those connections, utilize your network and be just as anxious to serve, help, and connect with others as you are anxious to get your next job. I think when you consider connecting with people and think about your network and how you can serve them, that Lou Holtz is a great example. He said with every connection, every conversation, every day, how can I help you? What can I do for you today? I love that. Boy, if we could all only be a little more like Lou Holtz. More information about LinkedIn profiles.
May I ask a brief question?
Yes, please interrupt.
Where it says send a personalized message, not a connection request, does that mean if you want to connect to someone, is there a way to personalize the request, or do you only send them a message?
No, you on LinkedIn, you can hit connect with someone, and then it will give you the option to just send their generic, I'd like to connect with you, or you can customize your message. That's what you want to do, is customize your message. It doesn't hurt to say, hey, I enjoyed, meeting you here, or your conversation here. I'd love to connect with you on LinkedIn. I'm just saying, don't do their generic button that will just send them a message that says so-and-so wants to connect with you. Customize it and make it personal. Does that answer your question?
I will look for that feature. I haven't seen it before, but I will look for it.
Yeah, if you don't see it, like there's a button that says connect, which you can hit, and then it'll either show you an option to customize a message, or it'll give you a little drop down, and one of the options is connect. So hit that, and then it will pull up the option to send a customized message. So hunt around and find that. Also, please connect with me on LinkedIn. You know, every person that you've interacted with or met that you can make a real and genuine connection with, you know, build your network that way. You can also.
I have connected with you on LinkedIn.
Okay, so perfect.
That's great.
Sorry, I can't see the chat, so I can only see my slides.
Thank you.
All right, so publish posts on LinkedIn. Posts can help define who you are. It can help establish you as an expert, because experts speak about their subject, experts write. So you can be your genuine self and just publish posts on things that you know about. You can write an article that you've written. Don't share what you ate for lunch on LinkedIn, okay? Ideally, if you're actively job searching, post once a week or every few weeks, just to keep top of mind and boost your searchability. Again, become an expert and an author. You could share your perspective regarding what's happening in your field, something you're learning, a recent industry development. Then also go on and like posts, congratulate people on anniversaries or promotions, comment on other people's posts. All of this helps keep you top of mind. It also shows that you're actively using LinkedIn, and then consider joining a LinkedIn group. When you're editing and updating your profile, though, I think it doesn't hurt to stay under the radar about this. So you can look down on the right sidebar and see a notify your network, and flip that button off when you're updating your profile. Okay, Twitter. Some Twitter basics. If you've got Twitter, and again, you don't have to be on every platform, have a Facebook or a Twitter. If you want to do both, that's great, but you don't have to be on everything. However, if you have an account, make sure you use it occasionally so that it can, you know, keep you current, keep you top of mind, boost your searchability. On Twitter, you want to focus less on your accomplishments, save those things for LinkedIn, and more on being a thought leader, sharing articles, commenting on news of your industry, etc. Think about, if you're on Twitter, why do people follow you? Are you an expert in something? Is it because you're opinionated? Are you funny? Do you share great articles, interesting photos? But as you use Twitter, don't just share your own stuff, retweet. But also keep in mind, don't share and retweet every single thing a person does. That can make you look a little weird. But, you know, feel free to be actively engaged with your own material and commentary, but also material of others that you find valuable. You can engage in Twitter chats. You can also use hashtag search functions and look for jobs or hiring or writer or location, like a location that you are interested in working in or living in, or a writer or a position that you're interested in. Okay, Twitter, you need to absolutely show off what makes you unique. Keep it professional, you know, share your hobbies, comments on TV shows, funny observations from your life, be real. Keep it clean. Again, make sure you're not telling inappropriate jokes. And don't share articles that could be offensive to people or divisive. You can follow job search experts. You can follow a specific company's Twitter accounts that are dedicated to their hiring initiatives. You can follow the major players in your field. You can engage with strangers on Twitter by retweeting their posts or replying to an article they posted and thanking them for sharing. You can also follow people at your dream companies. And this can be helpful because they might share job openings. They might help you stay current on company happenings so that should you get an interview, you'll look top of game. And you might even actually develop an actual and real connection by doing this. So think about that. This is kind of an interesting strategy. You can create your own hashtag. There was a guy named Tomas Bagdonas, who created the hashtag #HireTom. And he started reaching out to companies that aligned with his goals. And here's an example. He was in marketing and he would say, I'm not interested in marketing. I'm passionate about it with his hashtag. And guess what? He got a job. Now that was a great strategy for his particular industry. So it may not work for every industry, but I thought that was an interesting way to use social media to get a job. And you know, Hire Tom doesn't look desperate, whereas please hire me or I'm desperate for work or whatever does appear desperate. So keep it professional and understated. Okay, Pinterest and Instagram. These platforms can help you get organized. You can create boards of ideas for interview outfits, resume ideas, templates, career advice, industry boards, whatever you want to do. Don't use social media though for professional communications. You can promote your social media accounts in your employment materials, but don't follow up with a recruiter after an interview on Twitter, or don't badger companies that you've applied to via Facebook. Your professional communication should be done through email or, handwritten thank you notes. Okay, on social media, well, and in the job search and in selling yourself, all these things that you're doing to market your employability, remember that energy is everything, and consider what kind of energy are you demonstrating on social media. Energy is going to help you find your next job. It can be everything, and it helps you sell and market yourself. So make sure your energy is hopeful, that you're trying to have charisma, that it's the best you. It can be an emotional labor to have energy and represent yourself on social media consistently and energetically, but it is a labor that pays off. Be enthusiastic. Social media is a powerful way to show that you love your life, and it can give other people hope. So think about the energy that you're sharing on social media. Okay, remember this. Your next job may not be the perfect job for you. It might be the next job toward your perfect job. So it's easier to improve your employment than it is to get a job, but let social media help you with both. So be like Rachel. Go get one of those job things. All right, one last bit of advice. There are different rules for different platforms. I've touched on some of those things to consider today, but when in doubt, don't forget to ask Google. And one last bit of advice, the fortune is in the follow-up. People are going to forget, but don't let them forget. Following up is what separates you from your competition. So be one of the few who follow up. Now, I don't know what your background is, but in marketing, it usually takes 6 to 8 impressions to move the needle on something. And so as you're using social media, as you're engaging on social media, it usually takes 6 to 8 impressions to move the needle. So think about that. And that concludes today's presentation on utilizing social media to help you get a job. Do we have any questions?
I just have a quick comment following up on the LinkedIn question earlier.
Okay.
For me, I have to click on their profile,
Okay.
then hold down the connect button in order for it to offer the
Personal
option to put a
message.
note. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for clarifying that.
You're welcome.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Okay. Well,
I think it's great. Thank you very much. I hope to work as hard as I can.
good. And feel free to reach out if you questions come up. Feel free to utilize your career director if you need help finding your career director. Again, you can call Career Services at 801-422-3000. Let them know your major and they can help you find your career director. If you happen to be in the College of Engineering in chemical or civil engineering, I am your career director, but there is a very small army of people that are here for you to help you in your job search. So use us. Thanks for joining us. keep checking back. We're doing different topics and different workshop presentations every week. So we just want to help you. All right, good luck in the job search. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you,
Oh,
Andrea.
one last question.